So I'll start by introducing this as the Emerging Tech Education and Skills session. And I am the moderator, and we are going to have a wonderful conversation that complements the previous conversation about what is happening in industry regarding pathways to tech education. Let's see if I can make the slides advance. Okay, so I am your moderator. I am Quincy Brown. I guess I don't know why I need to read my own slides about who I am, but I have been a number of places and have been a computer science professor. I've worked in federal government and am now in the nonprofit sector at AnitaB.org, and also have my own nonprofit focused on supporting Black women and girls in computing. And I will be here to guide the conversation. And I'll share what we'll do is we have 5 prepared questions with remarks. And after each question, we'll open the floor up. So if people want to put their questions in the chat, you're more than welcome to do that, and our panelists can respond to those. We'll also invite you to unmute and share your questions, no pressure. If you feel more comfortable typing them in the chat, that's fine. If you prefer to unmute and ask your questions aloud, we would love for you to do that as well. Okay, next up, Rachel.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Dr. Rachel Wortman-Morris. I direct the Microsoft Learn for Educators program for Microsoft. I also co-directed and launched the AI Business School. In addition to my work at Microsoft, I'm also a clinical assistant professor at the University of Washington, where I mainly work with graduate students and some professional students. So thank you so much for the invitation, and really excited to be here today.
Awesome. Kimberly.
Hello, I'm Kimberly Green Starks of IBM. I'm the Global Infrastructure Lead for University Programs, and I'm also an IBM Master Inventor. I'm passionate about giving back to my community through educating teens and adults and youngsters about innovation topics, protecting your IP, and coding languages. Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you. You're going to have to talk about this Master Inventor somewhere in your remarks. You have to weave that in. That's awesome. Myra.
Hi everyone, I'm Myra Roldan. I am a Senior Technical Program Manager at Amazon with a program called Education to Workforce. And basically what that means is that I work with institutions to help them align their programs to market demand based on a lot of research to help you gain the skills you need in order to be marketable. And I'm really passionate about closing the digital divide. I have a non-traditional career path. I went from being a nurse to making a move into tech many years ago. And, now I'm at Amazon, come from a small island. So I'm really excited to, be able to share with you and also, hopefully inspire all of you also.
Awesome, thank you. And I'll add that I appreciate you all adding pieces of your background and your stories, because in your introductions and the multiple hats that you may wear, because we talk a lot about traditional and non-traditional, right, paths, as though those were the only 2 choices. When really you'll find that a small minority of people have kind of done the kindergarten through high school, undergrad, grad, and then into the workforce. That's a small number of people who've done that. And I think it's really important, especially as we have this conversation about reentry and all of the pathways into learning throughout one's life, that we keep that in mind. And so I am looking forward to, and again, I hope everyone watching and listening is going to engage with our amazing panelists about what the opportunities are from an industry perspective. So we have our first question is about the skill development opportunities that are available at all of the career levels for different companies, I should say. So that is our first question. And we have, let's see, some prepared remarks from Rachel.
Yeah, thank you. I think this builds. There we go. So thank you so much. I think as I'm speaking to you from my dining room, and I think Quincy's in her study, I think what we all recognize is that we are living a global crisis, and it is not only a global health crisis, but an economic one. And so as we work our way through this pandemic, our economy is evolving. And for those who are out of work, what we have seen is that there has been a rapid digital transformation. I would say that probably, within the last year, as I talk with, our customers at Microsoft, we have seen in some cases 5 and 10 years of digital transformation happening in the last, 12 months now. And so individuals coming back into work, and even individuals working right now, are returning to a different economy, one in which there is an intensified skilling challenge. And so the question around, what are we doing for people at various stages, if you want to go to the next slide, please, is, how are we really then working to go ahead and support job seekers or people even within jobs who are looking to go ahead and grow? And so if we want to go to the next, one of the fabulous things in my job is that I also get to work very closely with LinkedIn because Microsoft happens to own LinkedIn. And so we have access to a ton of data from their economic graph that helps us to understand key workforce trends. Look at the emerging skills gaps and the in-demand technical and product skills that are most in demand globally. And so what we've done is it's helped us to go ahead and identify the learning paths that are going to be most valuable to those who have been impacted by COVID-19 and who are looking to reskill, or those in jobs where they realize that they need to upskill. So we've looked at not only are the things in demand, but also what has the greatest number of job openings right now, what has the strongest rate of historical growth, what pays, a living wage, what can be obtained by reskilling without a 4-year degree, and also what can be done online. And so that was sort of our starting place. And so from there, if you'll go to the next. What we identified happened to be 10 in-demand jobs globally that are really relevant in today's economy and accessible for those who are seeking employment. And so all of these, for these 10 roles, there is rich content available on LinkedIn Learning. And as well, I think if you go to the next build on this slide, we identified 3 that really go ahead and get you into this true technical space. And what it will do then is that these advanced technical skills for 3 roles will help to prepare you for certification. We've done a fair amount of research lately in terms of certification, in terms of how it goes ahead and helps you with, salary, job growth, even for new grads. And I think this is, these are some critically important, not only sort of like what are the in-demand roles, but also what are some pathways to go ahead and get you skilled in those. And so if we want to go to the next. And so as we take a look at those 3, this allows you to go really deep on technical skills within Microsoft Learn to gain valuable in-demand job skills on these technologies. So you get free hands-on training to help you advance the technical skills, interactive step-by-step, small tutorials and modules, guided learning by product and skill level. It's available in terms of language. One of the things that we're really committed to is our global accessibility. So we have things that are localized in English, Spanish, French, German, Japanese, Korean, and simplified Chinese. And the content is available for free. And then if we go to the next, the exams then are also the exams are highly discounted. So our exams are generally $100, $160. Again, we're recognizing we want to go ahead and help everybody get these skills. We want to ensure that people can be successful. So we've dropped our price on exams to $15 for the ones that are shown here, to really go ahead and support individuals in getting skilled and reskilled for what we're facing in the future.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Quincy.
No problem. All right. Kimberly, did you have something to add to this?
Oh, sure. Of course. So I think I have some slides too.
Did I not do that right? I think I went too far. There you go.
That's okay. Either is a perfect place to begin the conversation. So at the opening remarks, you heard the assistant director of the NSF say that in 2030, we need 4 million people to occupy tech jobs. Those are net new. Doesn't count for the people on this panel who are already in the system, if you will, right? And so in order to reach those people and to train them, IBM has thought of things a little differently than how we did before. IBM is a 100-plus-year-old company. And so in order to reach people who maybe haven't come up traditionally through university and don't have their 4-year degree, we have relaxed the requirements for job requisitions around the requirements for 4-year degree, that we can reach people who are coming in the very structured traditional realm. And so Jenny Rometty, who you see on the screen, she's our former chairman and CEO and president of IBM. She retired last year. And she had this thing she would say, let's work together to find an approach to bring these people in so they can have great careers and do something different and do something they love. And so she called those types of jobs not blue collar, not white collar, but new collar, because it's all around the skills and gaining skills through self-education. You might have gone through community college, a code boot camp, any number of ways, on-the-job training in the military, other ways to get to the skills that we need in tech. So on the next slide, you'll see a few of the programs that we have available for these quote unquote non-traditional leaning people who are re-entering or entering for the first time the technology fields. The first one, you can go to the next slide, is called apprenticeship. And these are roles, you'll see some of the roles identified where you get some training on your own, however you choose. IBM has programs, but as Rachel mentioned, Microsoft has programs. We're all doing something in similar to the realm to get you the skills you need at a cursory level, plus those boot camps and other avenues of education for self-learning. But then to get to the talent pool around jobs in software development, client support, a data specialist, some engineering tech type roles, where when you join us, we match you with someone who's seasoned in that role. You get a mentor, you have a coach to bring you along to get you up to speed. And actually, I have on one of my development teams, a young lady who came from the fashion industry, who came out of our apprenticeship program, and she's been with me for 2 years. Phenomenal, because it's not about where you started, it's where you want to be, and we have tools to get you there. So that's the apprenticeship program. The next one on the next slide is the Tech Reentry program. This one's more about if you left the workforce for a number of years to care for someone or for any reason, a way for you to onboard back into technology. So we call that a returnship. And it lasts about 6 months. You do some rotational assignments within IBM, but really the main jobs that we're targeting for this type of effort are those you see: the data scientist, software engineer, a project manager. Because unlike in the apprenticeship program, this might have been someone who worked in tech a number of years ago, but is coming back. And you'll hear, I think tomorrow, Jennifer Howland, who retired from IBM a few years ago. This is one of the programs she started when she was up with IBM to bring women back into the workforce explicitly. But this is open to all genders, of course. And the next one is a special program for the neurodiverse population. So again, someone on my team fits into this category, and so that we can always make sure we have various points of view in the solutions we build for our clients. This program is specifically targeted to those with autism and ADHD, dyslexia, Tourette's, and a number of other neurological difference who bring, frankly, good perspective on accessibility concerns in our development so that we make sure that accessibility in our design is always at the forefront. The next program on the next slide is the EmTech program. So this is a special program we've partnered with a lot of industry partners to create high school, but plus is like I like to call it. And a few years ago, pre-pandemic, EmTech went open. So open EmTech so that there's opportunity for students who aren't at the traditional in the classroom setting can also benefit from the developmental skills, industry technology skills that EmTech offers. This is a 6-year public STEM modeled high school experience, if you will, where you take your traditional 4 years of traditional high school, but there's a 2-year add-on to get really immersed in technology. Again, you get a mentor from the industry partners like IBM and others, and you do internships at IBM in those latter 2 years. You finish with your high school degree, but also an associate degree in the technology area. And is there another slide, perhaps? Maybe, maybe not.
I think that's the last slide.
Okay, good. So those are some of the programs that we have available at IBM to get you in the door, if you will, for those who either left and came back to the tech field or didn't start out in the tech field or want to do something completely different and want to upskill.
Thank you. Myra, did you have anything to share?
Yeah, so I don't have slides, but I do want to share some data with you guys, just because a lot of the work that I focus on and working with institutions such as Miami-Dade and other institutions globally is that we understand that right now there are 3 major gaps, especially for people who are trying to enter the, re-enter or upskill, reskill, cross-skill. And it's one, we start with an employment gap, right? We know that women make up about 40% of all employed adults in the US. And pre-pandemic, it was interesting that, of that, only about 25% were in any kind of STEM role. There's also a degree gap with employers who are now starting to really look at their degree requirements and understand that the field is changing, that the world is changing, and that they need to look at different avenues and different pipelines to create more opportunities, especially now that, we know that D&I conversations have been happening across the world, and it's having a great impact on that degree gap also and the employment gap. And then we have this retention gap. And with the retention gap, when you think about it, there's this number out there. So like 38% of women who have majored in any kind of STEM field there's a small percentage of them that actually stay in STEM. So it's really interesting to see that there's also what they call like this leaky pipeline, which is a retention issue for women in STEM. And so this is something that we try to address through some reskilling and upskilling. So AWS offers some self-paced programs that you can go through to actually obtain certification. Specifically, we have AWS Educate. So if you are with a higher education institution, you can enroll in AWS Educate and go through our self-guided pathways and explore various pathways to learn about the different careers that are available to you. because what we're really trying to do is, again, try to close those 3 gaps. So we work with institutions to ensure that students are, leaving their programs with marketable skills. And we're working with employers to help them evaluate their job postings and try to understand what the current landscape looks like and where there are opportunities for them to actually retain some high talent that may fall within that degree gap also. So we're trying to close all of that. And then the retention gap is once you're in that employer's network, right, within their ecosystem, how can they ensure that they provide you with the support that you need in order to be successful in your role? So we try to tackle it from different angles. It's not just strictly through one direct lens. We're looking at it holistically to try and find solutions.
That's awesome. So I think some of what's been asked in the chat, I'll summarize, is where can people find out more? How do we, I think the slides and or the recording will be available, but for like the LinkedIn Learning, right? Can I just go into LinkedIn Learning and find that? How do we learn more about these awesome programs and how people can qualify?
So I just posted the link to AWS Educate in the chat here on Zoom. I'll post it also to the app in a few seconds, but it's a free resource for students. And it's as simple as going and joining for AWS Educate.
And then Kimberly or Rachel, how do we find out about the things that you described as well?
Right, I'll put the link in the chat as well, but if you Google Tech Reentry IBM, then you'll find that, but I'll also put an overarching link so you can find many of the programs that are available. And some I'm going to talk about in just a few minutes for some other questions. It's all right.
All right. Someone asked about where can they find the Microsoft Education Information and Discounted Certifications. I think that's at you, Rachel.
Yes, I'll go ahead and I'll dump all the links into the chat as well pretty quickly for everybody in terms of where you can go ahead and access the learning paths and the discounts.
Yeah, this is awesome. This is great information. Okay, I'm going to share my screen again as we move on to question 2. That worked. All right. So the next question is about how these courses and these programs differ, right? How they compare to traditional college and university courses. And so I think, Rachel, you've got some prepared remarks for this one.
Yeah. So I think we have a bunch of different pathways to skill development. I would say that the most accessible one that you can go to right now, is Microsoft.com WAC Learn. This is really an incredible place to start because it really allows you to choose your path. And it also allows you multiple ways of going ahead and getting there. So we have things, complete learning paths on Learn. So you can go ahead and build your knowledge through there. And also that leads you then to going ahead to be able to take the certification. If self-directed learning is not your thing, which I totally get that for some people, like sitting in front of a screen is not, you can also go there and find learning partners. We have a massive global learning partners ecosystem in terms of, third parties who will go ahead, who have instructor-led training, who will go ahead and teach you and coach you along the way to help you develop your skills. We also have and I'll put the link to this as well. We have virtual training days. So hosted by Microsoft, where there is, if you want to go ahead and learn about Azure, you can go ahead and sit in front of your computer, you and 3,000 of your friends for about, 8 to 16 hours of training to go ahead. And there are instructors there who are instructing you. There are chat moderators who are going ahead and supporting you. And so those are a number of ways to go ahead and kind of approach, various pathways to skilling. I think I have one more slide.
I'm just going to ask the question that I know everyone is thinking, is it free?
Yes. How about this? Let me caveat that. The learning paths on Learn are free. The virtual training days are free. Learning partners get to choose their own, what they're going to charge for.
Okay, free.
So some of them might be free. I'm not sure. But some of those may have a fee. Actually, I do know for a fact right now that if you are in, I'm going to get the countries wrong. If you're in Central Europe, there is like an AI fundamentals going on right now for like free classes. There's one in the UK happening. So I think also there are some global dynamics at play. There's also another piece that I'm really happy that we were pursuing for more and more of our certifications, which is I want us to see, because I saw that there was a question in the chat like, hey, do we see certifications surpassing degree requirements? And I think that's a really great and provocative question. Our standpoint, at least, as at Microsoft, is like, we want to go ahead and empower everybody. And so I also want to make this sort of bi-directional. And so what we have done is we're working to go ahead and ensure that they're, for exams, you can go ahead and then get college credit for those. So, if you're going ahead and looking at, hey, I have some time this summer, let me go ahead and take my AZ-204, or my AZ-104. Not only are you building your certification profile, but you can then go ahead and ask that your college accept those credits and have them applied to your transcript so that you're building in both directions. And so that's one of the things that I think is really important. We know that certifications provide deep technical skilling. We also know for ultimate success, it's not just about technical skilling for the longevity of your career. And so I want to make sure that there are as many opportunities available for individuals.
Yeah, I have a follow-up to that. So is that for any university, or is it like, I guess, some of these, you learn about these pathways and then people want to know like, but is that at my school, or is that like, who do you talk to figure that out?
Yep. So again, it's in the slide, but I'll throw it in the chat in terms of like how ACE is doing it. Here's the one thing I will say: ACE is predominantly US, and it's one of those things that I struggle with, because again, working for a global company, we're trying to find ways to make this not just as US focused. And so we're working with some other accrediting bodies globally, but I would say that we have the deepest penetration right now there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Myra, did you have anything you wanted to add on the topic of how your work differs from other colleges and universities?
Yeah, so we work directly with colleges and universities to help them embed cloud computing into their degree programs. So when we think about certification, my favorite line to kind of share is like, certification is good, but it's not sufficient. Because at the end, what we want you to be able to do is demonstrate that you're able to do the thing you can do, and not just be able to show a certification that says, you were able to take an exam and pass the exam. We also want you to be able to be able to support the decisions you make. And so that's why we work with higher education institutions and academic institutions globally to help embed some of those knowledge components into the curriculum.
Awesome. Kimberly, did you have anything to add?
Similarly, we partner with academic institutions to embed training, certificate programs, the Red Hat Academy, some other topics that I'll come back to in just a moment, for upskilling and reskilling through the academic paths.
Yeah, I appreciate you all mentioning that, because one of the questions that came up in the previous session was about how you build. And so getting the certification is a step, but then how do you build and demonstrate, right, that you actually have the skill and can use that. So that leads us into our I don't know if this is annoying going back and forth. Maybe I won't do that anymore for our third question. But to ask about what the traditional college or university departments can do to offer the skill development courses as part of their program. So I think we have Kimberly. they frozen or still?
Yeah, you can move on to the next.
Okay.
Yeah, and the next one, we all know academia plays a huge part. This is TJ Bot. He's my favorite little friend. And I use TJ Bot often in workshops at academic institutions to introduce the topics of working with cloud services and working in the cloud and what is speech to text and some of the things that are in AI and other areas for non-engineering majors, because everyone wants to have a little buddy who can talk back and have bragging rights in their dorm room or behind them on the table in WebEx or in Zoom when they're in class. And so this is a project that was started out of IBM research several years ago that has been really popular, not only in the university environment, but also in the high school, the 8 through 12 age groups of students, to introduce some of the technologies. So move ahead, please. And so through IBM academic ambassadors who might come to your school, or through or at your university, we offer workshops in reskilling, in skills development in our technology area. So you'll understand IBM's point of view on all of those things. But then there are also some more formal programs. And I mentioned I'm the global leader of infrastructure for university programs. So the programs the infrastructure that these programs sit on, that's my day job. And there are program managers, and these programs all have global reach. So the academic initiative is a self-serve offering where faculty members can go download enterprise-ready software. So the same software that we sell to our commercial clients, you have access through the academic initiative, and faculty members use these as components to build into their curricula. This is one program. And so if you go to the next slide, you'll see also available on the academic initiative are micro-credentials, where you can get foundational level course introductions to some of our favorite topics, where the future is showing, and the present for that matter is showing, that we need more people with skills. So introductory levels also available on the academic initiative as ways to boost your CV and get you the base knowledge that you can build upon. And so this program, as I mentioned, is available only through an academic institution. So if you have a .edu equivalent email address, you'll be able to access this material and content. On the next slide. So then we have a program that's called the IBM Skills Academy, which is more of a instructor-led offering, where you're at university at a number of them around the world, one of them actually being Miami-Dade College, who is very positioned in this conference to learn about the 8 technology tracks. And the guys here is to go from 0 to hero, so that you can have enough skill through these courses to actually have an entry level positioning to get a job in one of the technology areas. And the focuses here are artificial intelligence, all of our favorites, cybersecurity, blockchain, Internet of Things, enterprise design thinking, quantum, and even quantum computing. On the next slide, and you'll see that these programs and the instructor-led offering are broken down into a bit of lecture, the traditional, what you would expect from an academic course, talking about the market research and also future trends. But then the biggest component here is there are hands-on experiential learning that get you the practice. In addition to that, you work through group work activities using the same methodologies that we use at IBM to solution for our own clients. So you get introduced to IBM design, enterprise design thinking, collaboration through the garage methodology, and in those labs, using those labs to reinforce the learning, but also to solution projects around use cases that have come directly from industry. And again, these are offered globally through academic partners such as Miami-Dade or the College of Highland and Islands in Scotland, and a number of universities all around the world. On the next slide. And these are more of the offerings that are available through the Skills Academy around security, data science, artificial intelligence, and cloud. I think that might be the last one, probably.
Awesome, thank you. I think, Rachel, you had some prepared remarks for this question as well. Let me. Whoops, wrong one. I don't know why.
No worries. I can start talking, and you can find.
Can you see that back? Is it back? Can you all see that?
Yes.
Okay.
But I don't. It's not full, so it's fine.
Okay. All right.
It's okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk with you about the Microsoft Learn for Educators program.
Oh, I clicked a link. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. I'm going to get that together. Give me 1 second, because I think I went the link and then went somewhere.
It's not. I have the presentation up, so I'm okay taking over if you want.
Yeah, why don't you do that? Because I'm on the struggle bus here.
All right. Except now I have to remember how to use Zoom. Oh, actually, I don't have permission.
I think I'm back.
Okay. I can just talk. So what I'm going to share with you and talk with you about is the Microsoft Learn for Educators program. This is something I'm incredibly proud of. This is a program that was built by college faculty members for college faculty members. And so we piloted this pretty extensively with a number of colleges, community colleges, polytechnics, universities around the globe. We went into beta, and we actually just went GA in late January. And actually, since going GA, we've seen an increase of about 30% in the number of institutions who are really excited about joining our program. And so this is really an opportunity for us to go ahead and ultimately support students. And so we're working with faculty members in helping them not only build their technical skills, but also then helping them to embed Microsoft official curriculum into their courses. So this is about really going ahead and saying, we want to work with you, faculty members. We recognize that in a lot of cases, you have some incredible expertise in cloud technology. We want to go ahead and I think about it as sort of a dual degree program, if you will, that along the way, as students are going through their college path, they are, hopefully getting fabulous grades in their classes and also getting certifications along the way. So if we want to go to the next slide, because again, to the question earlier, like, hey, what, we don't entirely know what the future holds. And so also with this, faculty members really want the right resources. And so that's what we're going ahead and pulling together. So on the next slide, this is really about, with faculty, taking their expertise, coupling that with Learn, and really helping to give students valuable tech skills, and really making sure that what we're doing is aligned to industry relevant things. And so there's a whole process we go through in terms of JTAs for how we go ahead and create our courses and how we create our exams, but all of that is really tied back to the overarching job market and a lot of the partnership work that we do through LinkedIn to get that data and to be able to see what's important. So as we go to the next slide, one of the pilot institutions that we worked with, University of Lincoln, we kicked off this pilot January last year. So it was very interesting to be in a pilot and then have a pandemic hit you. I literally remember showing up at work and saying, I don't know. I don't know what is going to happen to our program. But this actually, one of the things that was amazing was that the students found this so incredibly important. This became a touchstone for them. And a lot of them went ahead and said, like, this was more valuable than my coursework, because as I'm watching, frankly, the job market crumbling around me, this was helping me to kind of keep going. And so I've shared a link out to the video there. So if we're gonna go to the next, when we think about what we're trying to do for faculty members in academic institutions. And I think there's another, I don't know if it's slower building. We're providing to faculty members, the curriculum and teaching materials. We are then going ahead and providing to faculty members free practice exams and certification exams. We do not make faculty members, at least for fundamentals, go ahead and get certified. A lot of them, again, come to us with a great deal of deep technical knowledge, but we want to support them along the way. We have a team of training program managers who I kind of think of as your personal trainer, your personal tech trainer, to go ahead and help you as you are working along the way to embed the curriculum and to help you sort of find pathways if there are questions that come up along the way. We do curriculum integration support. We now have we just stood up our fabulous Learn for Educators community. We have over 1,000 faculty members who are already in there sharing labs and talking about things. We also provide data and insights reporting back to colleges and universities so that they can understand the impact that this program has for their students, for their faculty, and for their communities. Right now, we're looking at, the 4 fundamentals. These are, wildly in demand right now and looking to expand our portfolio pretty significantly. And as well with that, we're digging into the research because we want to understand what the return on investment is for students. Are these things making an impact? How is it helping faculty members? And so, again, the research right now is a little bit US based in terms of how we are seeing demand for Azure skills, how we're seeing salaries trend, because again, we want to do things that go ahead and really help everybody. So there's I'll put the link in the chat, but there's a link to an article there as well. And so, we're now, I think I said, with about 190 schools. Again, we're in, I think, 7 languages and working to, really go ahead and expand and continue to have this be something that is built by faculty members for faculty members to really, drive that engagement.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
So we have exact 3 minutes left. Which means we will not get to our last question, but as it was just kind of, it's all coming together. Someone added in the chat, Nadia, that the pandemic has given her the opportunity to go back to school, and online classes have been a great fit. So in closing, I'll give each of you a minute or so to kind of share your thoughts about this pivot, caused by the pandemic, and where you see the upside to this, right, and allowing people to have the flexibility. So we'll start with Myra. That's okay.
Yeah, definitely. So I think that we have all been shut in for like the past almost year and a half, right? And I'm excited to see that some of you have decided to go back to school. I like to think of learners in different kind of buckets, right? So I think of you as upskillers, cross-skillers, reskillers. So wherever you are, even a new skiller, someone who's just new to, just decided to go to college after many years. There's opportunities for you right now because employers are really looking at their workforce and understanding and trying to understand what are the changes that are happening within their own organizations, but also within the world, right? And how businesses operate. And I think that you're going to find that there will be more opportunities for you because a lot of employers are now becoming open to remote workers, meaning you don't have to live in the same state that you work. I'm a great example of that. My office is in Seattle. I live in Nevada. And so, I work remotely. I've worked remotely my entire Amazon career. And prior to that, I worked remotely also as a technical consultant. So there's opportunities for you. I would say don't be afraid to go after those big opportunities because employers are also pivoting from looking at current degree credentials to looking at potential. What is your potential for growth and where can they help you expand your skills? So I would say be fearless, look at your skills inventory, see what transferable skills you have because employers are really looking at those as value adds.
Awesome. Thank you. Kimberly, 30 seconds.
Sure. I think the digital transformation that has happened over the last year and a half has made phenomenal opportunity for, just as Maya mentioned, working remotely. I too, I live in Nashville, My VP lives in Florida. His VP lives in California. Our teams are in Brazil and India, places in the US and Canada, all over the globe. And we've been a collaborative culture for a number of years. And so now that the rest of the world was forced to take another look at how they collaborate and work together for them internally, but also for their clients, we've seen huge strides in ways of working. And so that means you can work for a company and be on the beach in Mexico someday when we can all travel again, as long as you get your work done, right? And that means it's no longer a hindrance to advancement that you be co-located with your manager. I think that's the other huge benefit that we've seen as this quote unquote silver lining of this pandemic.
Thank you, Rachel.
Yeah, I'm going to say, what Myra and Kimberly said, like pandemic has upended things. Like future of work is wherever you want to be. And I think it really then becomes about finding the employer that frankly has, the mindset that really sees this as a benefit and also, understands what it means. I think actually the challenge becomes upon you, the worker, to do a really good job of defining your boundaries. You can work anywhere and you can work anytime. And that sometimes means all the time. And so I think it really, for a lot of people is, it's an incredible opportunity and you need to structure it in a way that makes sense for you and is healthy for you.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. This was awesome. I guess we snuck in the last question, but I appreciate you all taking your time to join us today to support the conference and really being active in the chat, and making sure all the questions get answered and addressed. And have a wonderful rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of the conference.